Hey guys, so back again tonight. I am up potting my tomatoes. I think I'm gonna call this like the up pot hour because every time I talk to you guys, I'm up potting things. If you've seen the other videos, I wasn't planning on up potting even once this year, and this is gonna be the second time that I'm up potting. And the reason that I'm doing it is because we are going to be 3 weeks past our average last frost date by the time that the temperatures at night are going to be suitable for tomatoes and peppers. So these cold 40-degree nights are getting pushed further and further and further. But my tomatoes, you can see, they're getting massive. So I'm up potting these guys into a pot about this big to give them a little bit more room. They are getting root bound, which basically means that when I take them out of this cup, their roots are starting to circle. They've kind of met the end of their soil, they're hitting the edges of the containers, and I don't want them to continue to get more root bound than they already are, because it's just going to be detrimental to the plant and it won't do as well when I finally get it out into the garden. So here we are. I've got these pots, I've got these bamboo stakes that I pulled off of a lot of our grapes and blackberries that we got when we bought those. So I'm using these to stake my plants. And then, kind of sad, but I'm using my macrame cord from Hobby Lobby to tie the plants to the bamboo poles. So yes, we're just making do with what we have and using things from our former lives to help us in this homesteading life. So anyway, so that's what I'm up to tonight. But while I was here, thought I would chit chat with you guys about something. So I'll tell you a really quick story. My son is in 7th grade and he loves soccer. So he's aged out of the local recreation district's programs. He's too old for that. But what's really nice is that the local high school lets him play for them. If you're 7th or 8th grade, you can play with the high school. And if you're good enough, you can make the team. So he spent about 3 to 4 months conditioning with the local high school. And he went to every practice, every weight room session, every set of drills that they did. He was there and was conditioning with him, and he really improved a lot, so I was very proud of him. Anyways, he said to me, you know, Mom, there's only about 30 kids, and I think I have a really good shot of making the JV team. And so, anyways, tryouts come, and we drop him off. And when we pick him up, he said, man, he said, there were like 100 kids there. He said, none of these kids were there when we were doing the conditioning, but they all showed up for tryouts. And he said, you know, I didn't make the team because there's all these other kids, and they were better than me. And I said to him, you know, if you're that good that you can just walk onto the field and be that skilled at this sport and be better than the other players, even though you didn't show the dedication that the other kids may have shown during that 3 months during the conditioning season, I said the coach is always going to choose that one skilled kid over other kids that are not as skilled, but maybe showed a little bit more dedication. And that's because the coach's goal is to win. High schools want to win. They want to have successful athletic teams. And so they're going to choose the kids that can help to get them there. So anyways, it got me thinking about this homesteading lifestyle. You know, you can't skip the conditioning. You can't skip leg day every week and think that you're going to be successful at the end of the day, because you just won't. I really believe that you need to be giving your all in the preseason, which is right now. So first, you really need time to get the experience that you need to be successful in this lifestyle. If I had started all of these seedlings and not had any experience, maybe I would have used the wrong lights. Maybe I would have placed my seedlings too far from my grow lights and they would have gotten really leggy. Maybe I would have used the wrong seed starting mix, or maybe I wouldn't have even used a seed starting mix. Maybe I just used a garden soil and didn't realize that that would harm my plants. And then talking about planting out, you know, I mean, I could know that there's certain plants that are frost tender, but maybe I don't know that 40 degrees is really too cold for a tomato plant, or that 50 degrees really isn't quite warm enough for a pepper plant to be out, and that they would be stunted. Maybe I don't have the experience to know that on my property, that where my garden sits, I can get a frost when the weather is 39 degrees. All of this type of stuff and experience and knowledge takes time to acquire. And so you'll be much more successful if you have the time for sort of that trial and error, you know, to see what works, see what doesn't work. You make mistakes, you learn from that, and I guarantee the next season you won't make those same mistakes. Also, just the time that it takes. If you think that you are going to just say, hey, you know what, when things get really bad, I'm gonna move to a piece of property, I'm gonna, you know, we'll have some goats for milk, we'll have the garden, we'll feed ourselves, maybe we'll have a cow for meat, or maybe some pigs, it'll all be great and fine. You can say all that, but you don't realize how much time it takes to build infrastructure on your property. It's like just building a garden, for instance, finding the soil, sourcing the wood, animals, for instance, right? Trying to find good quality, well-bred animals, buying fencing, buying, you know, solar energizers if that's the way you're gonna go, building the chicken coop, raising the chicks up until they're, you know, of age to lay eggs, making sure that you have water on your property. All of these things take time and they take money. So unless you have an unlimited fund where you are just able to employ people to come in and set this all up for you, first, you're not going to be able to have that infrastructure done. Secondly, if you did have that and you got all that done for you, that would be fantastic. But then you would have to keep these people on, and they would have to be the ones that were actually gardening for you and doing the animal husbandry for you, because you wouldn't have had the time or had the skills to know how to even do any of that. A lot of this is trial and error, you know, like these plants, for instance. I never was even planning on potting these up once, let alone twice, but Mother Nature has a different plan this year for us. And we're not guaranteed anything in really any lifestyle that you're living. You're really not guaranteed anything. And so I don't think that you can skip, you know, you can't skip leg day, you can't skip arm day, you can't skip the drill conditioning. You've got to be there and you've got to be dedicated to get it all done. You know, you might say, hey, look, you know, I'm dedicated, I'm getting it done, we're working hard, we're trying to bring this onto the property next season, we're trying to make the garden bigger, and that's fantastic. But there's so many people out there that are not ready. So one of the ways that I think that we can help people get ready who maybe aren't seeing the issues or maybe don't care is not necessarily by trying to reason with them or to argue with them. I don't think that that's really going to get us anywhere. But what I think is going to get us somewhere is being an example. So if you can have someone come to your, you know, obviously someone that you trust, but if you can have somebody come to your property and, you know, get excited about the garden, you know, say, hey, I really want you to see this, or I really want you to try this, you know, out of the garden. Here, take some strawberries home to the kids, or, you know, hey, bring the kids over, let them see the baby ducklings, let them see the baby chicks, come, you know, help us feed the baby goats, it'll be amazing. I think that we can really get people excited about this. I had someone come over the other day and they saw my garden and they said, wow, you know, this is really inspirational. I really would like to grow some stuff this year. And I thought, wow, like, how much could we influence others if we just kind of opened ourselves up to that and set an example? And instead of trying to push people into this lifestyle, just kind of share with them, you know? And like I said before, obviously people that you trust. You don't want to be bringing in, you know, the local guy from Walmart who's always asking for a few bucks when you walk out. That might be a little scary. But if you've got some friends, you know, that you know and you trust and they're good people and you know, and you're willing to take the time to share with them, to sort of maybe plant that seed and get them on their way into this lifestyle. And it's not really just for them. It's kind of has a twofold thing. Yes, them, it will help them to get prepared. But two, it's gonna help take the pressure off of everybody that is preparing, because when things do happen, the people that haven't prepared are going to be looking for ways to get the things that they can no longer get. And so the more people that we can get on board with this now and start to get them involved and them growing their own food, maybe having a couple backyard chickens, the less pressure it's going to put on the people that have prepared. And also the less pressure it's going to put on the supply chain. You know, the things on the shelves at Walmart, not as many people are going to be going and trying to get those items because they're producing them themselves. So that's also another benefit. But anyways, guys, I've got a night full of work ahead of me. I didn't even make dinner tonight. I'm being a bad mom. I actually had my kids make dinner, so they just came out and told me that it is ready. So I'm going to go in there, I'm going to take a break, have some dinner, and then I'll be out potting up the rest of these guys. I might leave a few till tomorrow if I get tired. But anyways, thanks guys so much for hanging out with me. And yeah, encourage somebody, find a friend, invite them over, let them see how rewarding this lifestyle can be, guys, and make sure that you are game day ready.